Hi, Darrin Mangum here, securities lawyer with the law firm of Mangum and Associates. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. I like to jump on here to talk about news topics, especially as it relates to securities law, raising capital, and also the capital markets. Of course, Elon Musk is always in the news for something. I think I've touched on this in a number of other videos over the years. Going back to 2022, actually, 4 years ago, when he was taking over Twitter, buying up a controlling block of stock in Twitter, which used to be, it's known as X, and since then XAI, and then now the merger between XAI and SpaceX. But people still, obviously, we still refer to it as Twitter, even though it's X now. But anyway, back during his takeover, it sounds like ancient history now, but the SEC and Elon Musk are still fighting over his alleged failure to disclose. I say alleged. I think it was, it was never really adjudicated. Anyway, the fine that they imposed on him was a pretty hefty fine, $150 million, right? Pretty hefty fine for not disclosing his ownership position. Now, just to give you an overview, if you're buying publicly traded equities and you become a beneficial owner, if you acquire more than a 5% stake in a public company, you have to file a report with the SEC disclosing your interest. A lot of times, disclosing that interest is, it's kind of it does like impact if it becomes known that some high profile investor like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett is buying up your stock, then that tends to have upward price pressure on the stock, right? Because, okay, if they think it's valuable, then maybe the stock price goes up. But like most people, most seasoned investors will often use a nondescript SPV, special purpose entity, holding company that nobody knows who owns it, or they'll use a trust or a third party to obfuscate the market, saying, hey, maybe I'll use like 4 or 5 different holding companies to amass a controlling block, which is what he did. Again, from a business strategic standpoint, it made a lot of sense. But from a disclosure standpoint, SEC law rules require disclosure. So, again, it is one of those things where you sometimes have to take a little legal risk, right, to get the business end of the thing done, right? Obviously he paid a lot for it, and he if had he disclosed that he was buying up this block, likely he would have had to pay a lot more, right? So obviously, he's been fighting this SEC fine as excessive and overreach and all that, which is probably true. But the judge recently, I'll put a link in the article below, but the judge basically said, hey, you can't dismiss this lawsuit that the SEC brought, seeking these fines and penalties. So, anyway, you definitely need to disclose when you take a large control block like that in the market. At the same time, again, a lot of times clients will say, hey, what's the legal rule? But then what's the there's oftentimes a conflict between what the business strategy requires and what the legal implications are, and they don't always line up. I think I talked about, a few last year, talking about high net worth institutions, things like that, oftentimes use these companies to not really hide it, but yet, obviously for holding company purposes, for asset protection purposes, or even just strategic purposes. They don't want everybody to know their business. And so they oftentimes will purposefully, either knowingly or unknowingly, they won't file, right? And then, hope they don't get caught, right? Because the upside potential is greater in their view than the legal risk, right? So, sometimes you got to make some tough calls. I think, if I were advising Elon Musk and we had the strategy of buying up Twitter, I probably would give them the same advice. Like, hey, technically you're supposed to file, but we understand that we understand that you're trying to keep it on the down low. So, we probably recommend that, as long as you're fully informed, like, hey, there is a potential that the SEC may, come after you on this, which they did. So would they have come after him if he wasn't such a high profile person? I think that's part of the argument. Like he was arguing that, hey, the only reason why you're coming after me is because I'm Elon Musk, right? But, when you have a personality larger than life, then okay, you're going to get a lot of attention, including regulators' attention, right? So anyway, it's just that's just kind of how it goes in the real world. So oftentimes I see clients, they'll say, hey, why is so-and-so doing this? And and they got in trouble, whereas this other company's doing it and nobody cared. Well, maybe they had a higher exposure. The SEC, at the end of the day, they're the cops on the street, right? And if you make a lot of attention, make a lot of noise, then they're going to be paying more closely attention to you, right? So anyway, obviously you want to follow the law, follow the rules, do it the right way. But certainly, it is what it is, right? Sometimes, again, those, like I said, business interests and legal interests sometimes don't always line up. But anyway, if you have any obviously legal issues that you need help with, if you're planning on buying up a social media company and or you're obviously if you're raising capital and for any reason, then certainly we'd love to help you. At Mangum and Associates, we take all kinds of clients, small, medium, large, all anywhere in between. So, but anyway, yeah, super interesting. I'll put a link to that article in the notes here in the comments. But let me know and let me know your comments if you think that Elon was wrongfully targeted in this situation. But anyway, feel free to share, like, subscribe, all of the above to these videos. I appreciate you guys watching. I've been doing this YouTube channel for, it's been like 12, 13 years now. And so, and I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.